All right, Elle. I don't want to start the show off on a bad foot, but somebody's been stealing my mail. Do you know how to handle situations like that?
Someone's actually been taking your mail.
For sure, because my invitation to Atlanta, which I know for sure you sent me, must have gone missing. Somebody jacked it. I don't know. I'm worried.
You shouldn't be. It didn't get sent. Hey!
That
Welcome,
hurts.
welcome to the Elle Duncan show. I'm Elle Duncan. That is a hurt Gary Streisky.
I'm hurt, dog. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, I knew that you knew my work schedule and I probably wasn't going to be able to make it, so it would have been awkward for me to be like, "Oh, thank you so much for the invitation." Like, I know I'm a top five best friend, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be there for your big day down in Atlanta. The Queen has returned
The
home
big
for the
day.
season finale. It was dope. It looked sick.
Okay, for the handful of you that don't follow, well, for the handful of you that do follow me on Instagram, you're probably aware of what Gary's talking about. Let's just assume the rest of you don't. The Atlanta Falcons hosted me and my family.
Family,
Family
close
meaning
friends.
my husband and my godson. And yeah, for their season finale against the Panthers, and it was super fun. And I posted a little story about it on
Uh-huh.
IG, and now Gary's feelings are hurt. I'm not gonna lie, this always gives me anxiety about posting stuff. Like I'll have like people over, we'll have a great night, karaoke, whatever. And before I go to post something just to be like, what a fun night, I'm like, who are all the people though that are gonna feel some kind of way about not getting the invite? And then I get weird about it, and then I don't post at all.
Okay, CL, and I totally see it, the flip side of that because you are a person who gets to live in many different buckets. And I think you and Omar do it perfectly. And any adult who has any sort of sense of where knows that, hey, you got this pocket of people, and sometimes you have to entertain this pocket of people, and you're not going to catch the invite all the time. And that's just how life is. My question is, do the Falcons know that you are like a diehard Broncos fan?
Yeah, so it was so funny because people always mistake me for a Falcons fan. Makes
Uh-huh.
total sense.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
am a very Atlanta person. I make no qualms about telling people I'm from Atlanta. I am a diehard Georgia Bulldog and Braves fan. And so the
Uh-huh.
connection, of course, is that obviously the Falcons, also Hawks, that the Falcons fall in line. Here's the thing. I have so much love in my heart for the Falcons. They are the hometown team. I'm married to a
Hmm.
Falcons fan. I am from Atlanta. But my whole family, everybody, both sides from Denver. And in fact, my sister was born in Denver. Like my parents moved away and got transferred through AT&T in 1982, and then they had this little
Hmm.
girl a year later. I came in with the Broncos. Like we've had
Yup.
season tickets in my family for about 60 years. They are the diest of diehards. We still
Uh-huh.
have season tickets. My uncle is willing them. Like that's how it works in Denver. So when they moved to Atlanta, they had no other affiliations to any other Denver team
Hmm.
besides the Broncos. So they absorbed the Braves and they absorbed Georgia and they absorbed the Hawks, but they brought the Broncos with them. So that's where all of that comes from. So to your point, I'm trying to navigate like what happens if they want me to put this jersey on.
And listen, I know my girl Elle. She's a Broncos fan, but I know she kept that jersey because it's free and it's
It's
got her
yes.
name on
I love
it.
free 99.
Hell yeah.
And no, like honestly, they were so cool. The Falcons were the very first team, apart from the Hawks, to give me an opportunity. I had no experience, and I used to do Atlanta
Yeah.
Falcons radio back in the day. And so again, like I have so much love for the Falcons. I mean, I got a chance to work Matt Ryan's first game. That's how long
Oh,
ago.
wow.
Yeah, exactly. That I had an affiliation to the Falcons. So it was so fun. And like the thing about Atlanta in general, before we get to some women's basketball talk,
Come on.
is that like if you go to Atlanta, if you've never been to Atlanta, let's just say, you consume this show or maybe you watch me on some other platforms. And if you do, I'm really appreciative for that, by the way. You would understand why I am the way I am if you spent any time in Atlanta. It is the most littest place of all time. Like we're at
Atlanta's
this
pretty
Falcons
banging.
game and Gary like, I'm like a ratchet kid on Christmas. Like I'm just sitting there and then at the quarter break, they're like, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's Trillville." And I was like, "Get on
What?
level." Like they were having mini concerts the
Come on.
whole game and then Cupid came out and we all did the Cupid shuffle and we were swag like it's just a vibe.
It
Atlanta
is.
is not a city more than it is like a personality and a vibe. And so
Uh-huh.
I just love going home because the people are so good to me and they show me so much love and because It's like espresso to the veins to go to that city. Damn, it was
Atlanta is an
fun.
event. Atlanta is a 7 day
Always,
event for sure.
always. So it was super, super fun. Next time I'll make sure that you're included. I'll make sure to let them know that you're a Patriots fan. I'm sure that will go over
Elle,
very
you
well.
gotta stop with those accusations. We are past that. Tom Brady left, and I'm over that.
So
We're
who's your
talking
team
women's hoops
now?
now. Hey, I'll tell you who my team is. I never had a disdain for Notre Dame, but Marcus Freeman is making me be like, let's go Irish. I'm all about Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman is a likable coach. He's a millennial coach. He's got Notre Dame playing good football. Obviously, they knocked off Penn State yesterday. I'm Notre Dame, baby. I'm Rudy 2.0 at this point in my football watching life.
Yeah, okay. So I was meaning more NFL, but that's
I
fine. We
know.
will get into the college football talk. We'll get into the college football talk in a minute because we had some results yesterday
Uh-huh.
from what ended up being at first looked like was not going to be a good game and ended up being a really good game between Penn State and Notre Dame. We'll get into it because I also need to address some haters. I need to
Oh,
address something.
more
Just
haters? No.
mistake. I know me never. But you mentioned women's basketball. Let's get into it
Uh-huh.
because the last time that we did the show, we were all sort of
Yeah.
waiting with bated breath about news with Paige Bueckers' knee. She
Hmm.
had just got hurt, and it was like, oh no, this could be bad for UConn. She's okay. I think like literally the same day that we taped the show, Gino came out and said she's going to miss about a week, couple games.
Hmm.
It's just a mild sprain, but we just want to be cautious. So
Yep.
that is great news. But there's lots of chatter, especially with some news in the W as we get ready for free agency and there's going to be some movement. And Satu Sabali has said that she wants to leave the Dallas Wings.
Hmm.
Why is that of importance as it relates to Paige Beckers? Because what do the Dallas Wings have right now, Gary?
Enrique and Gubawale and some backcourt issues.
Well, and also the number one pick, right? And so
Also that too. I thought that was the foregone conclusion that it was like Paige Beckers is going to Dallas.
well, but here's the thing is that you've got lots of chatter about like, oh man, people are leaving Dallas. And yes, they
Hmm.
have Enrique, who's one of the best players in the league. And man, she's such a fun guard. And people have already, as soon as we sort of saw the draft lottery and how it would lay out, people already are imagining like how fun that backcourt would be and da 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 da.
Yeah.
But there's now some chatter about whether Paige should use her last year of eligibility and stay in college. Should she pull an Eli Manning and say, I'm not going to Dallas? And so I will go overseas or I will sit a year or I'll go play at one of these other leagues if you try to draft me. What do you say to that?
I don't understand. And again, we are part of the media, but I'm wondering if this is a manufactured storyline by way of a couple well-placed agents in media. I don't understand why Paige would elect to do that. I honestly think monetarily, because of the name recognition, where she plays, who she plays for, the money is probably ballpark in terms of what she could make at UConn going back for another year. Actually, probably more because there's no cap to it compared to what she'll make when she is the number one overall pick for the Dallas Wings. I think that with Paige, you have to put the collegiate career behind her at this point. This should be her final year. She needs to go and be that number one overall pick to sort of start anew because every time you associate Paige Bueckers and UConn, the next thing you're going to say possibly is what if and what about the injuries? I think that if Paige Bueckers goes to the Wings, you still have Enrique and Gubawale. Satu is a free agent. She wants to play with her sister in New York. Paige Bueckers should go to the WNBA. I think it's the best basketball decision, and I think it's the best business decision and best professional decision that she could make. That's just my opinion. What do you say?
I just want to pour cold water all over the notion that Paige is going to have to take a significant pay cut if she goes to the
Okay,
WNBA. Like
thank you.
we literally said this last year with Caitlin Clark, and
Uh-huh.
everyone in their very petty, hatery way was like, why would she come to the W? She should just stay in college another year and make all that money. Like she can make more money in college because they don't make any money in the W. And then you know what happened? She comes out and she signs a $28 million deal with Nike.
Mhm.
Okay. She was never making $28 million in college. She was making great money. She was making $28 million money. These type of generational talents, like a Caitlin Clark, like a Paige Beckers, the money's not drying up when they go to the pro level. Like, let me just
Hmm.
stop you there. There's even more brand opportunities. Now, I will say this. Conversely, for a guy like Carson Beck, right?
Oh,
Who we got news, the Georgia quarterback hurts himself in the SEC championship, is
yeah.
out for the rest of their playoff run that ultimately ended up being one game against Notre Dame. He
Hmm.
announces on Instagram he is leaving to go to the NFL draft. He's going to declare. And before the season started, he was like definitely in conversation for not only a first round pick, a number one overall pick, right?
Yeah.
Like very much in the conversation for that. It was
Preseason
not a
Heisman pick.
yeah, preseason Heisman pick. It did not go well
Damn.
in that regard. I don't know exactly where Mel Kiper has him going
Hmm.
before he made this announcement he was going to come back to college. For a guy like Carson Beck, I think it's very smart to stay
Yeah.
in college. There is absolutely more money waiting for him with NIL deals and with the schools that will pay him, from what I'm hearing, in upwards of $2.5 million.
Yeah.
That is a smart decision to stay in college, get more money, try to improve your draft stock, because he clearly talked to some scouts. Finally, I'm not sure why he waited as long as he did, that were like, you're not going where you think you're going. And
Uh-huh.
there's not a ton of money waiting for you in the third or fourth or fifth round as a quarterback early on. Right. And
Which
so, like,
actually is kind of crazy because this is like a super thin quarterback draft class to begin with. So you must have been he must have been hearing some stuff that he
right.
did not like.
That he didn't like, right? And so, like, a lot of
Yeah.
people think the obvious choice is Miami. So I say that to
Okay.
say there are situations where it is 100% better for some of these guys to stay in college. Guys
Yeah.
like a Drew Timmy, who are huge college basketball stars,
Hmm.
don't necessarily project at the same level at the next level. So they're going to stay, get all this money. And
Yeah.
then Carson Beck will be in the NFL at some point. I don't know if it's in a starting role and a backup role. He'll
Hmm.
get money, you right? But he's going to get more money staying in college, and he's going to help his situation. Paige Bueckers doesn't have to worry about that. She does not have to worry that she's not going to make money once she leaves college. She is transcendent in that way. So I'm not worried about that in any kind of way. I'm more
Yeah.
concerned as just a basketball lover that this is the year where she actually really gets to have a healthy team that can give it a legitimate run, and not a surprising, last year's run to the Final Four was surprising because they didn't have one of their best players in AZ Fudd. And this year, I just hope everyone can stay healthy and give us a real legitimate shot, because they have great storylines. Sarah Strong is going to be freshman of the year,
Hmm.
and they have a real opportunity if they're healthy and that they can get some time together. That's the other problem, Gary. I go back to my first year covering women's basketball for ESPN when UConn was playing South Carolina. And again, not health. Like, Paige hadn't played all year.
Yeah.
AZ was sick in that game. Like, there's just been so many just like missed opportunities, it feels like, to see
Hmm.
UConn at their full complement going up against the best in the league. And that's been a bit frustrating. I will say one bit of news that we got from the women's basketball space this week, that I just know this team and I know how important she was in the national championship run last year. Huge news to me was that Ashlyn Watkins of South Carolina, done for the season with an ACL tear. Like, that is, I know she's not a household name. That's the beautiful part about South Carolina.
Hmm.
Like, a lot of them are not. They're just all great players, right?
Sure.
They are in an incredible system that Don Staley has built. I would like to believe they're household names after the national championship. But Ashlyn Watkins, her nickname is Ashlyn Swatkins. Like, every single time last year, especially in that tournament run, that South Carolina needed a block, she was there, or needed a rebound, she was there, or needed a layup. She was like, she is such a game changer in terms of the disruption that she brings, the defense. Like, she's a really integral piece off the bench. And I know a lot of people are sort of like, bench player, like what? But like,
Hmm.
South Carolina has two starting fives. And so she's huge for them in that regard. And I think that's really difficult. And especially when you're considering that they are still working through losing Camila Cardoso, and, making sure that their post players are playing fantastic. And Chloe Kitts is doing exactly that. Like, she has had such a year, so much growth from her first year to her second year last year, and then even more this year. But yeah, I think that's a real bummer for South Carolina, man. Ashlyn Watkins was key.
You need to have depth if you're going to make a deep run. Ashlyn Watkins, 6'3", and very much the power in sort of that power forward position. She leads the team in rebounds. She leads the team in blocks, and not having that presence defensively as an aggressor also on ball is a gaping hole I think for South Carolina, who's trying to run it back, obviously, from last season. And with how top heavy I think the women's college basketball field is this season, you simply cannot. We talked about it last episode. Elle, you simply cannot lose size like that. If you
Yeah.
lose 6'3", you know how you have to replace it with 6'3". No, but Ashlyn Watkins she fills up the box sheet and she does it in ways that you can't just spawn and get another Ashlyn Watkins. You can't just manufacture 7 rebounds a game, 2 blocks a game, which both, by the way, again, led the team. Scoring, it was nominal, right?
But
Six,
that's how
seven,
South
six, seven
Carolina
points a game.
is. That's what I'm
Correct.
saying. They all of them score 6, 7, 8, 9 points a game, but it's like the whole team scores that,
Yeah,
right?
you
And
look
so,
at a box score, the
yeah,
starting five is like 9 points, 11 points, 12 points, 10 points, 8 points. But then you look at the bench, 7, 8, 9.
yes.
So they are deep, but again, losing a pillar like that, it's not going to surprise me if South Carolina does not look like the South Carolina we are accustomed to seeing because of that integral piece and having lost that on Tuesday.
I think that South Carolina loves this though. It's like for so many years they've been the dynastic team,
Mm-hmm.
the top dog. Everyone, they're the Chiefs. Everyone's trying to beat them. You're getting everyone's absolute best. The expectations are sky high, especially last year. She loses her whole entire like starting five. She loses 70% of her offense. They still had expectations like to do something, and they
Mm-hmm.
lived up to them and exceeded them by going undefeated and then winning the championship. I think Don probably loves the fact that people are like, I don't know, South Carolina might not be that team this year. It's a very different space to be in with everyone saying that it's going to be UCLA, that it's that like could it be UConn potentially? It will probably be Notre Dame. Everybody
Mm-hmm.
every week, by the way, in this space has a different pick, and I love it. I'm one of those people that I like to talk shop, like whether we're on air or not. And so
Uh-huh.
every time I see someone in that space, I'll be like, who do you think? Who do you think? And they all
Yeah.
give different answers. And the answer comes differently every week. And that's the beautiful part about where women's basketball is right now, Gare Bear, because even 5 years ago, you could have picked two teams and been like, it's gonna be one of them. And now
Tennessee or UConn.
it's really wide, it's
Yeah.
really wide open.
Sure. Do you think South Carolina is sort of getting the Chiefs effect? I mean, your episodes of Sports Center the last 2 weeks, I know certainly mine the last couple of weeks are, hey, here's what the Bills are doing, or here's why Lamar Jackson's going to win the Super Bowl, or here's why the Eagles are getting hot at the right time. They just need Jalen Hurts to come back. All the while, people are like, wait a minute. The Chiefs are 15-1, 15-2 because they sat everybody. The Chiefs are back-to-back champions. They still have Patrick Mahomes. They still have Andy Reid. They are 15-1 and they're the AFC's 1 seed. It's one of those like, oh wait, the forgotten champ. And then they play, and then everybody's reminded, oh wait a minute, we forgot about the Chiefs. Wait a minute, we forgot about South Carolina.
Well,
It-
it's greatness apathy. It's
yeah.
greatness apathy. It's a thing. It is. I was on First Take yesterday with Dan Orlovsky, and he made a claim that the Chiefs are the most disrespected dynasty of his like generation, of our
Got a
generation.
point.
But I disagree because I just think it is a function of when you are on air, when you're an on-air
Mhm.
person, right? And I hear this, and I'm sure you hear it too. If you pick the Chiefs to win every game, which you really could do and be right most of the time, people call you lazy. Well, oh, great. Thanks for your analysis. You're picking the Chiefs. Ooh, the team that won 3 of the last 5. Oh, wow. You're really shocking us here. You're really giving us some inside information. And so people try to be bold. They try to pick other choices. They try to say,
Mhm.
okay, well, who could take down the Chiefs? That's how it works. When you are the top dog, people want to nitpick you. They want to see people love and hate dynasties. This, you're a
Correct.
Patriots fan,
Oh,
were
there
during
it
the
is.
Tom Brady years where it's like, okay, we get it, you're great. And there is this lack of, and I'm guilty of it too. There is this lack of acknowledgement that what we're witnessing is amazing. Like we never thought we would witness another sort of Patriots type of run. We are currently witnessing it with the Chiefs, right? Like we
Mm.
are. And we are watching the best quarterback since Tom Brady, the freaking Undertaker. He's the only other one other than Tom I've ascribed as the Undertaker. The guy won't go away. And year after year, it's like they win in different ways. And last year, I think it was legitimate criticism to say of the Chiefs, like, hey, they don't look that great compared to the Super Bowl win from 2 years before, right? And then ultimately, it didn't matter when the postseason started. Same thing this year. There were some legitimate warts, and people just talked about that because even me, who sat on First Take, and whenever people would lay out all the issues, are you concerned with the Chiefs? I probably answered that question on 3 different shows. And you know how I answered it? Not at all. I have no
Right.
concerns. Yeah, but well, they do this and they do this. And I'm like, I have no concerns. And I know that's not a fun take. I know that's not an interesting take. It's not a well thought out take. It's the Chiefs. They're just a team that like seems to always figure it out. And if you've got Patrick Mahomes, I don't care if you've got 10 other Pee Wee players, like you're going to be competitive. But people don't like hearing that. They want you to say, well, here's a team that could potentially, unseat the Chiefs. And so I don't think it's disrespect, just
Hmm.
more so than it's a function of what we do. We don't like people to win all the time. And if they do win all the time, we want to know who else could potentially take down that person we don't like winning all the time. And that's really all it comes down to. But I don't think anybody, not any real people, would tell you that the Chiefs are not an amazing team, that what they've been able to do in that franchise since Patrick Mahomes came in, that Andy Reid isn't one of the best coaches, if not the best coach currently coaching right now. Like, that's not disrespect so much as just like society, Gare Bear.
Come
There are
on.
still people right now that will tell you 6 rings later, just with the Patriots, that Tom Brady won all of his rings because they cheated. I mean, those
Well,
people are
those
stupid.
people are stupid. Everybody knows
That's
that
what I'm
those people
saying.
are
But they're
stupid.
not, but like Dan's point was like, well, that's what they're saying on social media. And I'm like, well, that place is stupid. That place is filled with stupids. Are you joking? Like,
Well,
you
the
can't.
dances are fun.
Yeah, there's
And Tweaker
that, but
going
that's on
viral was also
TikTok.
fun. And ladies and gentlemen, that is why Elle Duncan believes South Carolina is going to run it back. Thank you, Kansas City.
I like how you made that connection point. All right, shall we get to some of the college football talk before
Let's
we get
get
out of
it.
here?
Notre Dame looked awesome, Elle. I know that we weren't expecting much of an offensive eruption from this game. I think it did hit the under by I think the over or the line was set at 51 and a half. Total was 51. Notre Dame looked great. Riley Leonard looked better through the air. And I think the best championship game that we can get now that we're going to get the Cotton Bowl later tonight, if you're listening or watching on Friday, is still a coin flip. Elle, I'm not decided. Are you?
Well, I felt like, so I said weeks ago that whoever comes out of the Georgia Notre Dame game was going to make the national championship.
Okay.
So I am standing on, I'm going to ride with Notre Dame. Here's
Wait,
my
winning the national championship
No, no,
or
no, no, no,
okay,
would
got it, got
make the
it,
national
got it, got it,
championship.
got it.
I need to see, like, honestly, I don't want to make a prediction till I see Ohio State. I feel
Mhm.
like one of the questions I was asked yesterday was, is whoever coming out of that Texas Ohio State game, are they the national champion? And I
Yep.
said yes, if it's Ohio State. Just because I saw, like I said, a Georgia team that was a weaker Georgia team as we've seen, still
Yep.
relative, great team, obviously. They're SEC champions, but a weaker team. I saw them with their backup beat Texas, and I saw
Hmm.
them beat them twice. It's really hard to beat them twice in one year. And then I saw that same Notre Dame team, yes, with a backup, beat Georgia. And so I would like to believe that if it's Texas coming out, that like Notre Dame has a real shot. But if Ohio State plays tonight, like
Yeah.
they've been playing in the playoffs, I don't see who's stopping them because they've
Yeah.
got the offense, they've got the defense, like they are the most well-rounded team. And I don't see Notre Dame being able to keep up with an Ohio State if they're putting up a 40 ball. I don't see it. Notre Dame's best hope is that they make it a very, very tight defensive game, just like they did
Mhm.
yesterday, with some opportunities to score down the stretch. But it's hard to discount this Notre Dame team. Like, I feel like they know who they are. Like, does that make sense? Like, they know who they are, and they have
Definitely.
great coaching in Marcus Freeman, and they really try to play to their strengths. They don't panic. Like, they could have panicked last night. It looked like it could have been a disaster. And then before you know it, here they come out of the half, and they always seem to get a key play. Shout out to Jordan Clark, the son of our colleague
Hey.
Ryan Clark, had a great game. He's had a couple of games, man, where he's just coming up with
Hmm.
big bat downs, big passes defense. But I really, really, like, I love what this Notre Dame team is doing because Notre Dame has been described as like the Cowboys of college football, which is just this huge program, this big name program. They're independent, huge fan base. They're all over NBC, and they ain't won since Lion King was out. Okay, the first
It's a
one
good movie.
when we were 10. And
Hmm.
they had become the team that was known as the team that can't win in a big bowl game. And Marcus Freeman was like, okay, hold my beer. We've won 3 now. Now, obviously, none would be bigger than the national championship. But I think in his 3rd year, what Marcus Freeman's been able to do, the culture he's been able to create at Notre Dame, like it's a fantastic freaking story. I love it. And so good for Notre Dame. I'm also on that team. I'm interested to see if you're going to judge me on this. If you beat my team, I want you to win it all because I want it to have meant something.
Because you want to validate that your team lost to the CFB. And I don't think I ride with that. I want to see,
No?
like, the enemy of my team is still my enemy. So I want to see another team knock off my enemy. Obviously. That's my position on it.
See, I don't if they are my actual enemy, like I have never felt that way about Alabama, right? Like when
Okay.
Alabama like beats us in the SEC championship and keeps us out, like I'm never rooting for Alabama. They're our biggest
Okay.
rival. I have
So you can't
no
change the rules,
no,
L.
but I have no ill will towards Notre Dame. Like I
Uh-huh.
don't care. Like
Got it.
I don't have it's not a love-hate relationship. I'm pretty indifferent. And so in this situation, because I don't hate them, because I really like their coach, I'm like, go for it. I want
Yeah.
it to have meant something. I want to be able to say that this team was a couple of really key plays away from being able to really contend with a team that ended up winning the national championship,
But then
right?
when
Like
you
we
look
didn't get
back
boat
on it,
raced.
but then when you look back on it, if Notre Dame ends up winning the national championship, then you have to relive how Georgia lost to them in a quarterfinal game. Whereas on the flip side, if Notre Dame ends up losing the national championship, that story, that loss also gets lost in sort of the annals of history. You don't really ever have to relive Georgia's loss and, oh, Gunnar Stockton making his first. You don't have to reopen that scab, I guess, so to say, if Notre
To the
Dame
victor go the
ends up
spoils,
losing.
Gary. It's a part of sports. Like, so
All
what?
right.
I'm not scared. I'm not running from a loss. Like, people lose.
I'm
Okay.
well, I'm just saying I don't like to relive it. I don't want
The
to be
only
I don't
the
be want to
only
be
game,
reminded
the only game that I hate being reminded of that I
Tua
literally, yes,
Tua to
that's
Devontae
the
Smith.
only one. Be like, that's the only one where I'm just like, I'm gonna like when I see it, I turn. I turn
Yes.
away, I turn the TV. I'm like, no, that was very difficult for
Hmm.
me and very difficult to relive. And so I do not watch that. But apart from that, they've won 2 championships since then. Like, it's all right. You're gonna lose some games
True.
and you're just gonna have to deal with it. I'm preparing myself for like that Broncos Bills game, this weekend where it's like,
I
listen,
don't
we
know. I
might
saw a funny stat that like Sean Payton is 32 and like single digit losses against bald head coaches. I didn't do my research, L.
absurd,
I'm just trusting Twitter
absurd,
to be honest.
absurd.
So listen, if Sean Payton really has that record against bald head coaches, you got a better than zero chance, L, of taking care of business up there in Buffalo. Plus, Denver's got the best defensive player. I mean, you had him on SportsCenter, Pat Surtain the other day. Okay, L, if Texas beats Ohio State, I think it gives us a better, more competitive national championship. I'm with you though. If Ohio State wins the Cotton Bowl, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
They have way too many weapons. Last time we saw Ohio State's offense, Jeremiah Smith had 2 touchdowns. Both running backs had 2 touchdowns. Everybody was getting multiple touchdowns that game, and I don't see that. I don't see that stopping
Yeah.
against. Even though Notre Dame's defense is good, there's just so many weapons. The
There's
X
so many
factor is
weapons.
Will
Well,
Will
because they've got
Howard,
a great
though.
running game and they've got, I
Yeah,
think, the best player, just player in
correct.
general
The
left in
best
Jeremiah
player left
Smith.
in football for sure. He'd be a
Yes.
top 5 pick if he was eligible for the draft this year as a
Easy.
freshman.
Easily
Definitely.
he would be. So I'm with you there. But before we move on, and then I just want to get your quick predictions in the NFL, I have to address some of the Notre Dame people who, even
Uh-oh.
after the Georgia game,
What happened?
wrongly attributed Cam Newton's comments to me.
Oh no.
Now,
What did Cam say?
I love Cam. I've had fun working with him on First Take on Fridays. I've officially moved to Thursdays now. So Thursdays on First Take with Dan Orlovsky, if anybody listening cares.
Dope.
But a few weeks ago, 4 weeks really, Cam Newton has been sort of saying he doesn't want to see certain teams in the CFP, right?
Okay.
Like, and he, famously, remarked that like, don't nobody want to see a Arizona State? Don't nobody want to see a Notre Dame? Now, keep in mind, I'm with Cam and RC. I am
Mhm.
fully aware that Ryan Clark's son plays at Notre Dame. Cam Newton is clearly not aware that Ryan Clark's son
He
plays
didn't get those
at Notre
show
Dame.
notes. Mm-mm.
So he's just talking about how like no one wants to see this. People want to see the big teams and people want to da, 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 da. I defended the notion that people don't want to just see certain teams by saying and bringing up that TCU team from a couple of years ago
Okay.
that everybody always uses as an example for why you don't want some of these smaller teams, some of these group of 5 teams making it into
Hmm.
the playoffs. I said, dude, everybody forgets that in order for TCU to get boat raced in the Natty, they had to beat Michigan. Like, let's not act like they didn't earn their right there. Because Ryan
Correct.
Clark's point was, if you earn your right by winning games, I want to see you there. Because clearly you've got something that's good enough to get you to each additional round. And so I'm not with you there, right? He was like, and also, Cam, my son plays for Notre Dame, so I very much want to watch Notre Dame. And for some reason, I got thrown into that. And now Notre Dame people are like, apologize, Elle. I'm like, I never said I didn't want to see Notre Dame in it. Listen, I'm a media person. I just want big ass names in it, okay?
You ain't
Because
lying.
that means ratings are good, which helps us, which helps the company that I work at. I would love for Notre Dame to be in the national championship like they are. I just want a competitive game. But I also love Marcus Freeman, and I think he is a fantastic coach. And I love the idea that we could potentially have the first Black coach win an FBS national championship. I think it's fire. The idea that we even have one in the national championship, I believe, is a first. But the
Yeah.
potential that they could win one, I think is super dope. So good luck to Notre Dame. You beat my Georgia team, so now you've got my alliance if you
Oh,
want it.
can I tell you that they're obviously going to accept it? Oh, can I tell you why I hate the fact that Marcus Freeman could be possibly the first Black coach to win a national championship?
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why I hate it. Why I hate
Why?
that storyline.
Why?
Because my mom's gonna be like, Gary, you know Marcus Freeman's half Korean. Why can't you win a national championship? Why can't you be like Marcus Freeman at 37 years old and be the head coach of a historic D1 football program and win a national championship? Gary, he's Korean. Why can't you do it?
You're gonna get the comp.
I'm for sure gonna get the comp, Elle. I'm gonna get the comp. That's why I hate it. Thanks, Marcus. No, but
I
seriously,
know.
thanks, Marcus.
Well, it is going to be it's going to be great. In situations like this, I love it too, because if he does win the national championship, it's like the Korean delegation is going to claim him.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Black delegation is going to claim him. We're going to
We
be
already
fighting
have.
over him. He's
Elle,
ours.
we already got Hines Ward. Okay, we have Super Bowl MVP Hines Ward. Okay, we have him. We don't have very many others.
Had that been decided?
It had been decided because
Okay.
after he won the Super Bowl with the Steelers, he had like a God's welcome in Korea when he went there. He got off the plane and they were throwing roses at him and he got swept off his feet. I think he was like the honorable president of Korea when they beat the Seahawks in Super Bowl 40. It doesn't happen very often, Elle. So that's why we get to claim Marcus Freeman
Okay.
if and when he
Well, I'm,
wins
I'm going
Notre
to tell you
Dame.
right now, we're going to claim him. So you can claim him too. We're both going to claim him. We're going to claim the man. It's
Okay.
going to happen.
Hey,
Anytime it's a
TBD.
first,
Hey.
maybe, listen, if he was the second, you guys can have him, right? Like, but
No, we're not taking a back seat, Elle. I thought that all of this stuff falls on the maternal side.
where did you hear that at?
I'm making things up, Elle. I'm
Yeah.
making things up as I go. I want to win the
Clearly.
argument. Let the people decide. In the comments, hop in there. We get to claim him.
Can't wait to see. Can't wait to see what they say. All right. Can't wait to see what you say very quickly about these picks.
Oh, sure.
All right, here we go.
Talk to me.
Texans Chargers.
Chargers on the road. Justin Herbert, Coach Harbaugh, he's balling out. I don't trust the Texans offense.
Same at all.
Okay.
Specifically their offensive line. Ravens
Yes.
Steelers.
I think this game's going to be a lot closer than people anticipate. It's the third time these teams are playing one another. I think the Steelers can do the one thing that's going to rattle Lamar Jackson, and that is get after the quarterback. I think it's a coin flip. I think the Ravens still win.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Ravens. I'm with you that it might not be. They're a 9.5-point favorite right now. It may not be that close, but the Steelers they're not playing well.
They
Like
can't score points.
all of the things that had them at 10-2, not even just the offense. It's been fun to pick on them just because they've gotten really boring, one-dimensional and pretty stale. However, the defense isn't living up to who they were either. They're not getting to the quarterback. They're not getting turnovers, which is a huge part of their success early on in the season. I'm going to go with the Ravens here, but maybe not in as big a
But
game.
the Steelers covering.
I think the Steelers could cover, yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to wait on that one till the end. Rams, Vikings.
I hate what we saw out of the Vikings the last time we saw the Vikings, but give me the Vikings. I
Yeah, I
mean,
like them at home. They're a 2.5 point favorite. I
they're on the
think that,
road. The Vikings,
oh yeah.
they're in
Yeah,
LA.
yeah, yeah,
Or
duh,
actually,
duh,
I
duh,
guess
duh.
Glendale at
Glendale. The
this
game was
point.
moved to Glendale because of the
Yeah.
wildfires.
Yeah.
So
Give me the Vikings.
yeah, they're 2.5 point road dog. This game, by the way, on Monday Night Football on
Hmm.
ESPN.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I know that everybody is jumping off of the Vikings bandwagon. I think
Yeah.
that Aaron Glenn of the Lions called an amazing game. It's a division opponent. It's concerning because the Lions do still have like half their team on IR, and they were able
Hmm.
to look that good against the Vikings. But God, I don't know, man. I still trust Matt Stafford in these situations more than Sam Darnold, just because I've never seen Sam Darnold in these situations. And
I hear you on that, and that's why I almost sided with the Rams, but I don't think the Vikings and Sam Darnold go 0 for 4 again in the red zone like they did against the Lions.
yeah.
Um,
All right, give
Give
me
me
the
the
Vikings
Vikings.
too.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
like the Vikings.
Bucks Commanders.
Give me the Bucks. Close personal ties to the Bucks here on this show. I got close personal ties to the C-suites for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so I want to see them do well. I want to see Uncle Jay do all right. You know what I'm saying? Give me the Bucks. In all seriousness, Baker Mayfield is an absolute X factor, a wild card in the playoffs. They're hosting the Commanders. We've seen teams go into Raymond James and not look themselves. I like the Buccaneers.
Yeah. I could see that this could be an upset. I love Jaden
Hmm.
Daniels. I think that his story's been great, and they're playing a lot better the last few weeks. I think it's going to be a close one. The only like hesitation for me with the team like the Bucks, because I agree. I said yesterday on First Take, I think Baker Mayfield's probably the most disrespected quarterback in the league. Like he is
I'll co-sign that.
shredding. This man has 41 touchdowns. He's like
Yep.
tied for second. Like
Hmm.
he's shredding. But I don't trust that defense that
Sure.
much. And also, like it took some late game separation, but they were like really trying to let the Saints beat them, and the Saints didn't have anyone, and the Bucks were playing for their postseason lives, and that was maybe a little closer than I wanted. I'm still gonna go with the Bucks here, though.
Okay.
Eagles Packers.
Eagles. Jordan Love's injury is an issue. Uh,
Christian Watson's injury is an
Christian, I mean, that also that too. And the Eagles, I mean, they're at full strength. Jalen Hurts is going to be fine. You rest Saquon. The link is a dangerous place, both on the field and off the field.
and
Give me the
outside of.
Eagles, man. I like the Eagles to come out of the NFC, to be honest, but I like them for sure in this game.
I think it's going to be a question of how much they want to use Jalen Hurts. Like you say,
Hmm.
he's going to be fine, but it's a concussion and it kept him out for weeks. So it's not like a
Yeah.
little concussion. How much do you want to run him? How much do you want to tush push him and have him in those piles, knowing that he had, a head injury? But I still pick the Eagles here just because I think the Christian Watson, like they're going to everything begins for the Packers on offense with running
Hmm.
anyway. So I think they're definitely going to just try to feed Josh Jacobs. But they're going to be incredibly one to like if I'm the Eagles, best defense in the league right now, I would stuff the box and make Jordan Love throw to the weapons that and they do still have weapons, don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
Christian Watson is that deep threat, that explosive play guy. Like he's got more explosive plays than like the whole league combined. Like the dude's ridiculous. And losing that has a huge impact on their offense. When he's not on the field, they like yards per catch drops by like 2 yards. Like he's got a significant impact. And to your point, I don't know if that elbow. I didn't love Jordan Love's comments this week. Like I think he was just trying to be coy. Maybe it was just
Hmm.
gamesmanship, but yeah, man, that's a concern. I'll go Packers. Lastly, we ready? Bills Broncos.
It doesn't matter what I say, Elle. What
It
do you
doesn't.
feel? What do you think? How much do you think the Broncos are going to lose by?
So I found this stat in my preparation the other day that was wild to me. Buffalo, this line keeps moving. It was 9, then it was 8.5. Looks like
Hmm.
it's 9 again. Um, when the Bills in the Sean McDermott era are at least 9 point favorites, they're 22-0. It's like, so you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, that's pretty good. Here's the thing. Here's what I'll say about this. Out of all of the games that could see a potential upset, I picked this one only for this reason. Like, I like to be ballsy with my
This
upset
should be
picks.
good.
it's not really an upset if the Vikings or if the Rams beat the Vikings. It's a 2 point, right? Like this is a
Yeah.
nine
It's a
point. To me,
4-5. This is
that's
a
what I'm saying. To
seven.
me, the
It's a
biggest
7-2.
upsets are either going to be Ravens, Steelers, or Bills, Broncos because of the significant gap that the odds makers think exists between these teams,
Yeah.
right? That's a huge line. I only say that not because of what you think, because of the Broncos defense, which of course is one of the best in the league. They've sacked more quarterbacks than anybody else. And to your point, they have who's probably going to get defensive player of the year, or at least in pole position for it, and Pat Surtain. I think it's actually because the Broncos offense matches up really well with the Bills defense. Like the Bills defense is built on taking away explosive plays, deep throws, long game.
The Broncos
The
don't got none of
Broncos
that.
ain't doing none of that shit.
The Broncos dink and dunk. And then all of a sudden you look up and Bo Nix has 4 touchdowns. What
That's what
the
I'm
hell?
saying. Like the Broncos, like
The
there
Broncos
was a
don't do
stat a
any of
couple
that.
weeks ago that was like 60% of the Broncos passes are behind the line of scrimmage. Like they don't, that's all they want to do anyway. Screens, a lot of short yardage
Yo, the
stuff.
Broncos, you think the Broncos are going to paper cut the Bills to death, L? Paper cuts hurt so bad though. So
Death
that,
by a
okay.
thousand paper cuts. And I do not, do I think the Broncos are going to win? Probably not. Like this
Okay.
is, it's in Buffalo. Josh Allen is playing. Like if Lamar Jackson didn't exist this year, Josh Allen would be the odds-on unanimous MVP.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing amazing. They've got really good weapons, but I do think that there is an opportunity for the Broncos to make it more competitive than the line says that
So
it
are
will.
you calling it? Are you calling an upset here, L? Because I'm not.
So I put a hundo on the Broncos to win.
Yeah, you did. Okay. Okay,
I
Moneybag,
mean, the
yo.
payout's like 380, so I was like, F it.
Damn.
But no, the cool thing about being in this space, Gare Bear, as we wrap things up here on the Elle Duncan show, is that like I am a diehard Broncos fan. I love the Broncos. I was one of those fans that was um like really just hard to watch games with for a long time. I
Yeah.
was emotional, yelling, screaming, and it's because we hadn't won a Super Bowl since I was in high school. And so we win that Super Bowl against the Falcons, and it's great. But I'm like 18 years old. I don't really care that much. And then once I got to a point in my life where I had like an obsession with football
Mm-hmm.
and the Broncos, we went so many years of heartbreak. And then we lose, of course, in the Super Bowl to the Seahawks, not just lose, get
Y'all got
absolutely
smoked.
embarrassed.
41-6.
It was
I think
horrible.
I was just looking at that back score the other day for some reason.
It was horrible. And then we finally win one and we beat the Panthers and we win this Super Bowl. And I was one of those fans that was like, okay, like I'm not a Patriots fan. I don't expect you guys to win one every single year. But Gary, what I did hope for was that after we won the Super Bowl, we could, I don't know, in the 9 years since, just have a winning season.
Get to the playoffs.
Not even the playoffs,
I know,
Gary,
I
a
know, I
winning
know, I
season.
know, I know.
Just a
Hey,
winning season. We
patience
haven't
is a
had a
virtue, L.
winning season until this year since we won the Super Bowl. So this is so house money, bruh. Our win total preseason was set at 4. Okay. Like we
Man, that
won
cat's a
10
lot.
games. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, and that felt like a lot based on where we were last year. And you have this rookie quarterback, and he's the 6th quarterback taken, and you don't know what it's going to look like, and you don't know how he's going to work with Sean Payton. And then all of a sudden, we find ourselves in a playoff game. So we are playing with house money. There is zero pressure. It's a really fun position to be on, to see your
Mhm.
team over indexing. And why not? I hope they play loose. I hope they take chances. I hope that they're bold because you're not supposed to win this game, clearly. So go out there and try to.
Just believe, baby. Just believe.
Anything is possible. All right, Gare
Except beating the
Bear.
Bills.
Well, hope
All
you're
right, L.
right, because if not, I'm going to mock you mercilessly next week. Happy hunting to you. 4 straight days of football.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. And we will see you guys next Tuesday.
All right, peace out, L.
Bye.